Today, we live in an era where technology and urbanization continually push the boundaries of change. Skyscrapers rise high, streets are bustling with fossil fuel-powered vehicles, and industries are expanding to meet human needs. Yet, amid all this progress, a crucial question arises. Is this advancement worthwhile if it comes at the expense of our environment? This is where we can look to Japan as an example, a country demonstrating that an advanced economy doesn't always mean environmental degradation. Japan has shown that industry and nature not only can coexist, but also can mutually support each other. The country has managed to build a thriving economy while preserving its natural ecosystem. This achievement did not happen by chance. There is a deeply rooted philosophy, policy, and set of cultural practices that make this possible.
In this video, we will explore Japan's sustainable practices and examine how Japan manages its environment while maintaining economic progress. These practices could serve as an inspiration for our beloved nation, Indonesia. We invite all of you watching to look deeper, take inspiration, and consider whether these steps could be adopted in our homeland.
One of the hallmarks of Japan's environmental stewardship is structured, disciplined approach to waste management. Waste management is not just an administrative duty. It has become part of Japanese culture. Everyone knows exactly where their waste will go and how it must be sorted, whether for recycling, incineration for energy, or repurposing as other materials. Plastic, glass, paper, and even organic waste are meticulously sorted, ensuring that only a small fraction ultimately becomes useless landfill waste. This awareness is instilled from a young age. Children are taught to maintain personal and environmental cleanliness in school. At lunchtime, they finish their meals and neatly organize their eating utensils, return them to the school kitchen, and brush their teeth to clean away food remnants. They also participate in cleaning their classroom together before resuming their studies. Another deeply ingrained cultural habit is that the Japanese do not litter indiscriminately. If they cannot find a waste bin, they carry their waste bin until they find an appropriate disposal spot. When it comes to waste collection and management, collection schedules are organized by waste type, from household to corporation. From this, we can see that effective waste management is not just about providing bins or collection trucks, but building a system and culture that support this practice. In Japan, both the public and government play active roles in ensuring that every aspect to the waste cycle function optimally. In Japan can achieve this. Why is it so challenging to implement Indonesian? Why then has this seemingly straightforward system not been fully adopted in Indonesia? One reason is the difference in environmental awareness and the lack of infrastructure. In Japan, children are taught from elementary school how to sort waste,
environment.
Japan also demonstrates a remarkable commitment to renewable energy. The country recognizes that clean energy sources are not merely a trend but a pressing need amid the global climate crisis. Japan has set an ambitious goal to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050, a measure that requiring a profound shift in national energy consumption patterns. Wind, solar, and geothermal power are harsh need across the country, not only in major cities but also in rural areas. Solar panels on urban rooftops and wind turbines in remote regions reflects Japan's serious effort to reduce its reliance on fossil fuels. Though this effort comes with significant costs, Japanese society continues to support and believe in their long-term impact.
But what about Indonesia? To this day, most of our power generation still relies on coal, and carbon emissions are still rising. Why? Because of the high dependence on fossil fuels. It also serves as the source of national revenue. Without the courage to invest in renewable energy, we risk abandoning future generations in pollution and degraded environment. Serious policies and supportive systems are what.
In Japan's major cities, green space are not merely aesthetic enhancement or leisure sport. Open green space are an integral part of Japan's urban planning strategy. Parks are spread across city corners, providing recreation areas, space for exercise, and safe haven for small urban ecosystem. In Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto, their parks serve as urban oases, absorbing pollutant mitigation, global warming effects, and supplying oxygen for public well-being. Additionally, these green spaces offer opportunities for people to interact with nature, enhancing both physical and mental health. They are not just places to escape the rigors of urban life but also a way to connect humans with nature while maintaining ecological balance in densely populated cities. If we look at Indonesia, green space in major cities like Jakarta, Surabaya, and Medan are increasingly encouraged upon by infrastructure development. Skyscrapers and shopping centers replace previously exciting parks, reducing vital green areas. We need to recognize the green space is not a luxury but a necessity that cannot be overlooked. Without sufficient green space, air quality worsens, temperatures rise, and public health declines.
Ourselves, does urbanization always have to come at the expense of nature? Japan demonstrates that green space can be part of urban planning, a model so considered for Indonesia.
Indonesia is a nation with a large population and evolving lifestyle. Vegetation more than 60 million tons of waste annually. However, much of the same waste in least and up evolving decomposed is carried away by current. Ultimately, population the ocean. This has also impact not only on biodiversity but also on our health. The microplankton we discover in the ocean can enter our food chain, ending up on our dining table in the form of fish or other seafood.
Why does this happen?
It is not just a matter of life perspective, but also of habit and awareness. Many of us might not realize that the West will later eventually impact us directly. In this case, we must work together to build temporarily our culture. It takes time, but the first step must begin now. Energy is backbone of development, and in Indonesia, our main energy source still heavily relies on coal, which produce high carbon emission and air pollution. Every year, coal-fired power plant operation across the country contribution significant to greenhouse gas emission, exacerbating global climate change. This contract with Japan, where they have begun to transition to renewable energy resource. Japan has set important goal to become carbon neutral by 2050. This means they have a clear plan to reduce dependence of fossil fuel. We don't start the transition now. When will we? We have significant potential from solar to wind power. But all this requires investment and the willingness of both the government and society to change. We all want to live in healthy, comfortable, and environmentally friendly city. However, with the ongoing urbanization in Indonesia, the need for green space in cities is increasingly increasing. Infrastructure development often deserves the environmental impact. In fact, green space are not just for aesthetic enjoyment. In Japan, major cities' green space are part of urban planning, serving and population buffer, oxygen provider, and place where people can connect with nature. In Indonesia, urban green space are often occupied by commercial and residential development. Jakarta, for example, has a green space nationally far below the World Health Organization. This not only impact the acquisition but also the mental and physical health of the resident. A lot of green space contribution to raising of population, extreme heat, and a suggestion of safe habit for local wildlife. As we observe Japan's success in preserving green space emission from moderation, we must ask ourselves levels. And we follow their example. It is time we build cities with sustainability in mind, ensuring sufficient green space for both the current and future generation. If they can do it, why can't we?
In this situation, we cannot rely on one party alone to make a change. Children, as a generation with access to information and full of energy, play a strategic role as agent of change. They can actively participate in research, engage in environmental campaigns, and educate the public on the importance of environmental care. Society also plays a major role in creating a cleaner and healthier environment, especially in waste management and supporting clean energy use. Meanwhile, the government holds a crucial responsibility in shaping policies that enable a better environment. Collaboration between individuals, communities, and the government is key to creating real change. Japan has demonstrated that economic progress and environmental preservation are not mutually exclusive. They can go hand in hand. Indonesia can move in the same direction. But this will only be achieved if we all commit to it. Start with simple action, such as reducing plastic use, sorting waste, and planting trees in our surroundings. Our support for eco-friendly policies, investment in renewable energy, and participation in environmental activities will bring significant long-term change. A green and sustainable future will not come on its own. It results from our hard work, awareness, and responsibility toward this planet. Together, we can make a change for a better future.